My name is Tony Matar. I'm a church planter in the city of Seattle, planted a church called Venture Seattle.
This is Dr. Brandon Beals. My wife and I are the founding and lead pastors at Venture Church in the Seattle area, and you are listening to Pastors Unfiltered.
We're having all night revival.
You are listening to Pastors Unfiltered. I'm your co-host, Pastor Tony Matar, joined by my lovely co-host, the still adjunct professor, Brandon Lee Beals. How are you today?
I'm good.
We had NU royalty in this room.
I know, last week.
And I don't feel like we walked away with an answer to, can you officially be professor or not?
I didn't ask that.
We should have.
I did get the commitment that if he's ever the president in another school, I get an honorary doctorate. I did get that commitment.
Sure.
So we haven't reflected yet. I don't even know when the Joe Castleberry interview is going to drop. Probably not until sometime in July. So you're going to be listening to this before we actually talk about the Joe Castleberry interview. But what did you think, Tony?
I thought it was great.
You seemed a little bit sleepy.
It's, just a long day, PB.
Did you have trouble sleeping the night before?
Sure, just a long day. Ministry's taxing on the body. So, hey, I want to talk to you about a movie I watched last night with Ariel 2 nights ago. I'm not going to lie. I ugly guy cried.
Ooh.
I watched Nonas on Netflix.
Oh.
So Vince Vaughn is Lebanese, just saying. And it's a movie about his Italian heritage. And his mom dies, and to honor his mom, he opens up a restaurant in her name and only hires grandmas to cook at this Italian restaurant. You've seen it, Judah? What'd you think? Did you cry? Yeah. I wept the whole time.
Did you know that your wife texted me and said, you have to see Nonas on Netflix? And I was like, Nonas? I used to call my Italian grandma Nona. And that was what she told me.
It? It's got
I didn't know anything about it.
Who's the guy who just divorced Sofia Vergara? The buff dude. I think Nick something.
The Rock?
No.
Brett Allen.
No. Goldberg? No. It's none of those people. He's in it. It was an excellent movie.
Some big buff guy that none of us know who he is in it.
So
got
good. And Vince Vaughn he's still got it for me.
Yeah,
Ever since Dodgeball, he's had it.
We went on a double date.
We did.
You should tell our listeners about the Pastors Unfiltered double date. Our wives came.
We went to the Mariners game, and I'm going to tell you exactly how it went. Ariel and PB talked the whole time. And Di and I watched the game. It was excellent. It was exactly how I thought it would go.
After the game was over, I looked at Di and I go, what did you think about what Ariel said about this? And she was like, I couldn't hear a word you guys were saying.
You guys talk movies and shows and anything, whatever, culture. And Di and I are like pulling up stats, talking about George Kirby and all the stuff Mariners are going through.
That's why I get along so well with my daughter. I have all the same interests as a 20-something girl.
The same books. You guys read the same books. You watch the same movies. What's your thought on T Swift getting all her music back?
I'm happy for her.
Are you? I could care less.
I don't really care either. I did think about our new intro being a Taylor Swift song, but I figured we'd get sued if we use that.
Have we moved on as a country, or are we still obsessed with her?
Not really. Yeah, we moved on. Just if she went back to country, we'd like her again, but now we've kind of moved on.
I've noticed Christians are getting real excited about Brandon Lake. It seems like this guy's getting some favor with people.
He's now getting canceled by Christians.
Oh, no. What happened? Yep.
It just came out yesterday. What was it?
Oh, no. What did he do?
It's the thing with Bubba. Absolutely not fair, by the way. Yeah.
I don't think it is either.
I don't.
No. What
Can
happened?
I interrupt here or not?
Yes,
come on,
you can.
Come on,
absolutely. I watched that this morning, and it just makes you so concerned, so uptight with people. They just make comments that are not fair to them.
They're mad about everything.
But he's got favor with people in the industry who aren't followers of Christ. Why are we upset?
He did some interview, and it was probably totally taken out of context.
100%.
And he made some statement about I don't think we should use words like holy, holy, holy in songs. And he got blown out of proportion.
And he didn't make that statement. He was talking about when you should do it in this service. He was just saying the fact is you don't open up your service with that. And any good communicator knows that you not warm up the crowd. That's not the right way to put it. But anyways, I just thought he was totally taken out of context.
Yeah, good.
I'm just jumping in.
So speaking out of context,
No, you're allowed to.
Okay.
We're not going to introduce you for a while, though.
Do I want to?
You're
do we
just a
want to talk
stranger.
about the Seattle thing?
Yeah, let's go
Because
for
my
it.
phone has been It's not been blowing up, but it's been pretty busy the last 2 weeks.
Well, we're going to talk about the Seattle.
Should we talk about the Seattle thing? We didn't talk about it last week because
let's formally introduce our guests.
Let's do that.
So then we can get our guests' opinion.
We can get their opinion, and they can.
Let's let them share their opinion of Seattle, so you and I don't get in trouble.
No, we're going to still get.
That is really dangerous. Thank you, Brandon.
So we are awesome guests today. We have Troy and Jana Jones, who pastor New Life Church in Renton, have been great friends of mine and Di's for. Are we going on like 30 years
I
now?
bet it's 30 plus years. What do you think, Jen?
I'm going to say 30 plus.
Yeah.
We're the full-on OGs.
We are
in the network
absolutely
now.
OGs.
It's
We've
crazy.
reached
Yes.
that point.
It is. I never thought it would be. They have written many books, but they wrote a book together called The Mosaic Marriage, which we will talk about later on in the episode. Welcome, guys.
Thank you.
It is good to be here, man. I'm very enjoying the two of you going back and forth.
Tony's gonna.
Tony, you're scary.
Listen, we don't do the whole like over honor culture. Like, Pastor,
No,
what are you
there's
drinking
no-
today? What's in your juice? Come on, we're humans. We can talk normal.
All right, Seattle.
Let's
what
talk
do you want to talk
Seattle.
about?
Okay, so my phone's been blowing up. What are your thoughts on this in Seattle? What are your thoughts? So to give everyone context, I mean, we don't need to even dive into it.
Give them context.
Well, no, we don't need to. You and I got a call from Ross Johnston.
Yep.
6 months ago.
Asking if we would host this
Event that was haircuts and all this stuff.
Yep.
For the
Ross
city.
Johnston, great friend of Venture, great buddy of ours, has ministered at our church. He's kind of a text
Friend of yours, not friend of mine. Friend of yours. And God bless him.
He's a cool dude.
Sure. Great guy. And he asked if we could host this event. And us being the church in Seattle, we're still a church plant. We're like, hey, we don't have the bandwidth to help out with
And
this.
I had already had guest speakers booked.
And
for
you
that
had guest
weekend.
speakers. So it's not that we were like against him or anything. Praise God. You want to come in and help? We're all about it. But what the event turned out to be, and then the whole residual of it following after, I just want to say this. There are churches in Seattle doing really good work right now. I'm not playing victim today, but we're the ones that are in the city that this affects the most.
We know of what? I think we know of 6 new churches that have started within the last 2 years.
These are all my dear friends. I connect
And
with
all
these
their
guys
churches are cranking.
cranking.
God has blessed them all.
Don't tell me that Seattle's too woke and too far gone. That's nonsense. People are getting saved in our city and they're coming to our churches. And so the 6 of us, we're literally just texting about this. We're setting up a meeting with Mayor Bruce to happen soon. We're going to sit with him. We're going to pray for him because he's a believer, by the way. We're going to ask him how we could partner with him. How could we serve the city? How could we build bridges with him? This whole coming into Seattle on a horse to save the city, it's nonsense. It's not even biblical. You know, we've always said at Venture Seattle, we're going to serve the city, not save the city. It's not my job to save the city. Everyone's been asking, like, what's your 2 cents on it? There's my 2 cents. Listen, no one won in this. The church didn't win. The city didn't win. The left didn't win. The right didn't win. Nobody won. And it's not about winning. No one looked good in this situation.
So my 2 cents on this is everyone, again, my friends around the nation are texting me saying, hey, I know you're friends with Russell. Hey, I know you're friends with Ross. What do you think of all this? And I am staying as neutral as I possibly can, and I want to tell you why. And I think it's a great time to jump in with Troy. So I have gotten to know recently a pastor by the name of Reggie Witherspoon. Is that his name? Witherspoon?
Yep.
And just an absolute stud.
Is he black?
Incredible.
Yeah,
He's gotta be with a
he's,
name
uh,
like
like,
Absolutely incredible.
he has. He works with many of the Seahawks.
Yeah.
He is Bruce Harrell's pastor.
It's
So
amazing.
long before this thing happened in
Yeah.
Seattle,
Yeah.
I had been at 2 different dinners, sat at the table with Reggie, and Reggie he would just tell me about what the Holy Spirit is doing in Bruce Harrell's life, how excited he is. So my statement when my friends ask me about this is, hey, I love Ross, I love Russell, they're great. At the same time, I have this growing friendship with this pastor Reggie, who I highly respect, who speaks very highly of Bruce. So I have friends here and I have friends here. I'm for my friends. I don't understand how this thing went so crazy south, but there's so much more to the story. I refuse to take sides. How's that? And that is shocking for me because I have an opinion about everything. But I'm for my friends, and I have friends on both sides.
That's fair.
So,
That's
Yeah,
totally
Brandon,
fair.
you
What
do
do you
have an
think?
opinion about everything.
I do.
Yes. Yeah, my perspective here is, first of all, none of us know the full story. So we all get these opinions without knowing the full story. I think that's dangerous. Number two, Tony, I agree with you. Jesus is doing something in Seattle right now.
Yep.
And I think we all need to sit back watching churches explode. For those that don't live in Seattle, we're considered like an unchurched, woke culture. In many ways, that's true, but there is a great work of God going on here.
Amen.
But when it comes to having an opinion about something like this, I love Philippians 1, where Paul is saying, let's see if I can recall it, where Paul talks about, I don't care how the gospel is preached. I just want the gospel preached.
That's good.
Now, you could take that out of context, I'm sure, but I think it's appropriate here. I think we overly judge things that we know very little about. And I just go, man, as long as Jesus is being preached, I don't have to totally like how it's happening all the time or even resonate totally. Christ is being preached. That would be Paul's argument on it. Let Jesus be preached. Something good is happening here in Seattle. And I think we need to just have a better God perspective of it than that.
So Troy, we've been I started Venture 20 years ago. You have been the pastors at New Life. We're going on 25 years, right?
No, 20. Just went over.
So you're 20.
Yes.
Okay, because you were the
I was a youth pastor, DYD. So I've been at the church for 45 years. I got saved there.
Okay.
So I've been about 20 years as pastor.
So think 20 years now. We've both been leading our churches. Can you think of any other time in the history of Western Washington where God is moving like He's moving right now?
No.
Across churches all over. You have these small segments where like City Church would blow up or East Lake would blow up, but now it is like everybody we talk to, record attendance for Easter, guest volume, like the Holy Spirit is moving at churches throughout our region. I've never seen anything like it.
Yeah. I would echo that. I believe that God is moving dramatically in our churches. And I think that you're absolutely right. There's been churches that have swelled in to try to make a splash, but they've not lasted. And I think there's something here that there's longevity that's going to happen over generations because of this season.
It's for the first time that I can remember if I'm in a pastor's meeting with AG guys or I'm a pastor's meeting with just other guys in the region or gals, and everybody to a person is, we need more space. We need more parking. We've never seen anything like this. How do we get more staff? Yeah. It's the first time it's not like, okay, do I talk about what God's doing at Venture? Because these guys are miserable.
What's interesting, right, is like pastors are not even competing against each other any longer.
No.
We are all in this together.
Yeah.
Like I think about it, 20 years ago, there would have been much more, I don't know, competition or whatever. But right now there is a sense of, man, Seattle just needs a move of God. And we all care about that. There's an outpouring of His Spirit there. We're not fighting each other. We're actually collaborating and working together.
I think specifically, I would say in the last 12 months, the number of pastors in our region outside of our movement that I have become, I would say, really good friends with. And I've never seen anything like it. And all these guys, they want to stay connected. They want to be friends. We want to collaborate.
And it doesn't matter
together.
which tribe you're a part of.
Yep.
It doesn't matter what denomination you're a part of or network. The greater mission is what's at the heart of Seattle right now.
It's pretty awesome that we've all gotten united around, let's make Jesus famous in our region.
Yeah.
For my short time of being in ministry, this does feel the most united I've ever felt with pastors, especially a lot of the people who aren't in our tribe, who are not AG. We are super close right now. I agree.
Yeah, and I think a part of it is over the last 20 years, we have lost some great churches in Seattle. And I do think it's a recovering, it's a God reviving us again. But it's not just with the famous churches. I mean, they're all just godly, gospel, solid voices. I think there's something very healthy about that. Just all of us coming together to say we believe that God wants to move in Seattle.
Amen. Should we talk about the book?
Let's talk about
Should we talk about marriage?
Let's do it.
You guys were here. You guys did a marriage conference 3 years ago.
We did.
And then our church grew numerically after that.
Lots of
You
babies.
know, we just had a dedication Sunday. We do baby dedications pretty much once a month, but we had one particular Sunday. Di and I just happened to be gone. So was Tony. He was with us.
Yeah.
And We dedicated 25 babies on one Sunday. And remember, we do this every single month.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's basically your guys' fault
Hopefully
from
it
your
was
marriage conference.
Like 9 months after our marriage conference, right?
And the reason I like your guys' marriage conference so much is you guys didn't make us just look at each other and stare into each other's eyes.
You got to give them context. You can't just tell them that.
Okay, go ahead.
We had a guest speaker a year ago. They were great.
2 years ago.
2 years ago. And one of the things they had us all do is hold our spouse's hand and
Oh.
stare into their eyes
Yes,
for a
that one.
solid minute.
I would have
A
laughed.
solid mean.
A
I would've
solid
laughed.
minute. So and Ariel and I
It
looked
was
at each
20
other.
minutes she made us do it.
It felt like
like 20.
It felt like 20. So Ariel and I the whole time just watched Brandon and Di. We're like, I wonder what they're doing.
That would-
And then I watched
can only
Morgan.
picture that.
And Morgan's like sobbing, and his wife's like, "Why are you crying?" It was.
Literally you just held hands and looked at each other.
I'm
Yes,
just gonna for
it
a
was
minute.
so terrible.
No.
I'm gonna say this.
No.
Not to make people uncomfortable. After your guys' marriage conference, I'm just gonna say, we went over to Morgan and Nicole's house. Ariel and I were close friends with them. We said, "Hey, gotta tell you guys something. We're pregnant." And they go, "Oh, that's great." Yes, so are we.
Oh,
Our,
Because of,
our children are a day apart.
no.
fun. That's
Thank God for
awesome.
that Friday conference.
Hey, the person that did speak and make us stare into each other's eyes, we had her back
And
for
redeemed
a revival
all of it.
night,
Yes.
and she
Christina
blew
Gilbreth.
us away.
Unbelievable.
We are bringing her back.
We're bringing
She's
her
amazing.
back in September.
I have one question. Can I hold the book? I want to point out. Well, look into this camera. I'd like to point out that Jana's name is at the top of the book.
That's my book.
It's like a school book.
Troy is not allowed to touch this book.
That is
that is my copy.
Troy have one with his name on.
I do. I actually have one with my name on it. But
That's actually really funny.
I used to do that. My sons, they're twins. When they were 5, they used to do that.
Yeah,
Keep
well,
each
here
other
I
from
am,
touching each other's.
55 and doing the same thing.
All right. Don't touch that, Troy.
Yes.
All right, tell us about the book.
The book, The Mosaic Marriage, How Two Imperfect People Become One Masterpiece.
Ooh, love it.
Yeah, it's the name really captures the book. When you think of a mosaic, a beautiful mosaic is made with broken pieces, right?
There's a church that uses that whole
Yeah,
metaphor too.
that's true. That's true. They ripped it off for me. But that's the heart of it. I think that beauty comes out of ashes and beauty comes out of brokenness. And there's so many married couples, they see their differences as something that's destructive. And we see our differences as something very beautiful. And so our passion is way more than a book, by the way. Our passion is to create this movement where every married couple would see their differences as art, as beauty, and stop trying to change your spouse or stop trying to hope that you have a different spouse or whatever it may be, but blend the colors of your marriage together and create this one-of-a-kind, durable masterpiece that shines the glory of God to the world. So that would be the heart of it. And Brandon, as you know, from my testimony, I come from a broken home. I got saved at 13 from an absolute broken, dysfunctional home. So I had no idea what it means to be married when I got married. And so to see 36 years of marriage, we have broken generational patterns over our lives. We have 2 beautiful daughters, 5 beautiful grandkids, and literally generational patterns. What it is a beautiful mosaic. And it's all the broken pieces God took. And somehow when you look at us, we love each other. We love our kids. Our son-in-laws are amazing. 5 beautiful grandkids. We've broken generational patterns. So we just try to get practical in the book, really try to break it down. How does that look to actually have this beautiful mosaic?
What made you guys decide, Jana, to write the book together?
That's such a great question. We were on sabbatical and we rented a 40-foot RV. And I prayed most of
That's when
the
you
way.
realized where your differences were.
Yeah,
Yes.
so he's driving on these really tiny.
Never driven an RV
never
before.
driven.
Never.
It's as big as a
He
Greyhound.
has trouble driving a normal car.
I don't like driving.
Yeah.
No.
So I'm in the passenger, speaking in tongues, praying.
She is speaking in tongues the whole time. Brandon.
Anyway, we were driving down and went all over the place. But he's like, I want to write some books. What should we? So we kind of talked through it and decided this was the time to really kind of dive into our story, our marriage, and put it out there for the world. And if it helps couples understand that marriage doesn't have to be hell on earth, that it can be something beautiful if you work at it. So the passion is just that people would not settle for average, but they would go for the gold and have hope
Why are churches okay? So we talk about outside of Christ, marriage is the most important relationship, but I don't hear about marriage at all in the church.
Yeah.
We don't hear about
Yeah.
anything: sexual identity, sexuality, marriage, even the topic of sex, communication. We don't talk about any of that stuff anymore.
Yeah.
Why have we veered away so far from? If it's supposed to be the most
Yeah.
sacred thing,
Yeah.
why don't we talk about this?
I actually agree with you, and that's why we are trying to change the narrative of that to inspire pastors that, you know what, you have youth pastors, you have children's pastors.
Yeah.
What are you doing for married couples to give them hope? We have
good.
divorce care recovery, we have celebrate recovery, we have all these recoveries. Well, what are we doing to prevent that?
good.
What kind of things are we putting in place to prevent that so you don't have to go to recovery, divorce care? So,
Yeah, first of all, great question. Like just the issue, I'm sure we'll probably talk about intimacy here somewhere along the line, but the issue of sexual intimacy, we just don't talk about it enough. And we allow social media to influence and pastor the next generation
100%.
on that subject. So it is so big. I think one of the reasons, which hopefully the book helps cover, is that when you bring up marriage, we all think about our brokenness. We really do. We think about maybe I'm on my second marriage, or maybe I'm not the husband I need to be, or I'm not the wife I need to be. I think we immediately all think, not shame, but sometimes even shame, but brokenness.
Yeah.
And instead of seeing the brokenness as something's negative, I want you to see it as positive. So this is going to shock some people. I don't want you to try to change your spouse. I want you to see the hurt, the pain, the fact that he or she didn't meet your expectations. I want you to see that as a beautiful thing, that if you could allow that to be beautiful, allow God to turn that into, it can really be this mosaic, one of a kind, no other marriage like yours. So I just think because there's so much pain with it, it's hard to talk about maybe on a Sunday morning. And there would be some conversations hard to talk about Sunday morning, like you brought up sex.
Yeah.
That would be hard to be that blunt. We may be here, but it's hard when you have single people in the room, that kind of thing, some of the things that need to be said.
You guys debuted the book this week.
Yeah.
What has been the response so far?
Yeah, the book came out yesterday. I mean, literally this week.
Tuesday.
Yeah, Tuesday, whatever date it is right now. But yeah, it's people are excited. You know, we pre-released it to our church a month earlier, so New Life got to see it.
Pre-release copy would have been really handy for Tony and I before this podcast.
I would have read it. I really would have read it.
That would have been a good
I
idea.
can't have that one because it's
You can't
Jana's
have this
name
one.
on
It's
it.
It's
my
Jana.
name. It's my book.
Would you have read it?
Yeah, I would have read it before this.
Oh, good. Well, now you're just going to have to guess, right? Yeah, the response has been just amazing. People reading it, just people wanting, the response is we need more practical insights and advice, and especially from a couple that, how do I say this? From somebody that's actually proven it, right?
Yeah.
It's not like we got married a year ago. It's funny, I joke with people. I thought about writing a book on marriage when I was like 5 years into marriage. And I look back, I had no idea what I was talking about 5 years into marriage. I wonder if I have. I mean, even after 35 years, I'm not sure if I have it totally figured out. But I think people are looking for just real solid, not like just straight up advice that actually works.
One of the things that has been interesting, again, we talk about being old OGs here in the region,
Yes,
yet alone just
Seattle.
our network. You are older than me, though. But
How much?
I think you're 5 years older than me.
Yeah.
That's not much.
I'm
Yeah, that's
53.
not- yeah,
How old are you?
I'm 58, yeah.
58, okay.
Yeah, no.
Okay. Oh, yeah,
That's not much.
I'm much younger.
You're wishing.
One of the things
I
that
agree.
I've found, like the thing we have in common, we lead large churches, and whenever people say, "Hey, I want to meet with you and talk to you about something," we always assume, "Oh, it's church advice." And I am always shocked by the questions I get asked by people now, because now you have Di and I. This month will be our 33rd anniversary, and we have adult kids and all of that. Everybody always wants to know, how did you raise kids that love Jesus? I'm like, oh, you don't want to talk about the church. Okay. How did accident? It happened, a lot of the kid thing, but
No, because Brandon, I mean, you and Di in this, you have a mosaic that's beautiful. You have kids that love the Lord. You have something that is what we would call in the book as a masterpiece. And people want to hear about that, especially after you've been married 30 plus years. I mean, there's a hunger that people have. And we all know this. We in church like to talk about the things we're against. We like to talk, we're against this, we're against that. But I want to talk about what we're for.
yeah.
And so I think even what's happening in culture right now, we can go against all the things we're against, and we should. We should. There's proper time for that. But the greatest answer for our world, beyond the church being the church, is for married couples to love each other. The greatest thing I could do for my kids is to love Jana, is to have a healthy marriage. And so I just think we need to learn to talk about things that we're for and help people around those subjects.
So for our listeners, why should they buy this book? Why should they read this book?
Why should they read it?
I think this is a great practical book. It's not a bunch of theory. It's very practical, down to earth. I think it's great for small group curriculum, for conversation in there. We've got lots of questions at the end of each chapter. We've done video work for small group curriculum, so you can plug it in, get a bunch of married couples together. Even if you're not part of a church, get a bunch of married people together and discuss the practical things that you can implement into your marriage. It's on audiobook, so we've recorded it on audio. So
Is it on Audible?
yes,
Oh.
it will
Not
be.
yet.
Not yet, but it's coming.
Which was brutal to read, by the way. Oh,
Who did the reading?
You were the reading?
We
yes.
both did.
So if I get it on Audible, I've got to listen
wanted
to
Jana.
you.
I don't
I got to
want-
listen
Well,
to
you
you at
are
1.5 speed for 8 hours.
It will be both of us. But it was, to be honest, if you listen to the Audible, it was brutal. It stretched me beyond my imagination.
Oh, I'm fully.
Hey,
gonna
one of
get
the
it on
reasons
Audible.
I want to answer. One of the reasons you should write is throughout the book. I'm writing, but then there's sections called JJ, Just Jana. And here's the truth: if you just read it and just read the Just Janas, you'll love the book. Honestly, because Jana comes in. She's from small town Kingston, Idaho, and she comes in with her small town common sense advice, just right to the point.
Love it.
Just read the JJs, and then it'll be worth the effort.
So growing up Kingston, Idaho, what was your background like?
Oh my gosh. Well, there were no restaurants. Maybe there was one Tall Pine restaurant that you could go to. It was called Tall Pine.
Oh.
So yeah, it was a small town. About 400 people, maybe.
Wow.
No stoplights. I didn't know what a cash machine was when we met.
So the first time, like on our honeymoon,
Yeah.
I took her out to Pizza Hut, and she thought I was rich because she had no. I mean,
I didn't eat out.
she like, oh, I get to go to Pizza Hut. And the first time we went to a cash machine.
Oh, I thought he was getting free money. I'm
Free-
like,
free
how in
cash.
the world are you getting money
Well,
out
they
of that?
didn't have cash machines in Idaho yet.
Yeah,
when
no,
you guys got
no.
married.
No.
And so there's a part in the book where we actually list out our differences because people from a distance, you would think that because we're so harmonized, you think we're the same. We're totally different in every way. That where we're raised, our backgrounds, how we approach problems.
I'm more common sense, get it done, get to the point, let's work hard.
I'm
Troy
philosophical.
lacks common sense.
No, I don't lack common
No.
sense.
He thinks
Sort
with
of.
his brain.
I
He
think
thinks
I
with
think
his brain.
philosophical, big picture. So we constantly, and this was the part of the book you'll see. Our first 7 years, that's what caused our problems. And this is kind of a confession, and that I make in the book. For the first 7 years, I was constantly trying to make her like me instead of us becoming us. So the two shall become one. It really was the two shall become me, and I really had to deal with. I had to deal with what really one meant. It didn't mean that she changed to become like me or I changed to become like her, but we need to blend our marriage colors together and become one and create a new masterpiece instead of trying to be like each other. But yeah, we are so different. It just in every way. She's an introvert. I'm an extrovert. I mean, but we brought them together to create this masterpiece.
So talking about the differences is one of the notes that I had written. Can I dive into it a little bit?
I do want to say
I think-
something about Jana that no one knows.
Yes, I want to hear.
She is Roger Archer, Motion Church. This is her baby sister.
I know.
Yes.
I
I've
had
been
heard
golfing
all
once.
kinds of stories about your guys' family that I subsequently found out weren't necessarily accurately conveyed to me. I still have to process. That's why I don't know.
You don't even know what to do with that.
Someday I'm going to bring Roger and Jana in on the podcast.
That would be good. And talk about
Trauma
their upbringing.
It will be, I'll ask 3 questions, and that will be it. And then
there you go.
an hour and a half later.
That's true.
Talking about differences, by the way, I think this will be really good for people that are listening to understand the dynamic of you guys. That'll interest them in the book a lot, I think. Just what would you say, from your perspective, Jana, is the biggest difference between you and Troy?
Yes, I think the biggest difference is he is very philosophical and consequential in his thinking. So everything has a place. He's very OCD about where it goes, and this is how it goes.
So he's always on.
He's always on,
My guy.
unless he's sleeping, and he'll take a nap every day, just about. But he's a napper,
cute.
so he'll take a 20-minute nap and then get up and he'll go, and he's on until he goes to bed. So we're very different in that his brain is going 1,000 miles an hour, and I need to unplug and have fun. So we try to find that balance of I need to get out and do something fun, while he would really just like to do documents and dream and vision, and he's very much in that vein.
So you make Troy fun.
I do. We have a good time.
It's true.
Okay, with her making you fun, what is the craziest thing she's ever made you do that you never would have done if she had not have made you do it?
Wow, the craziest thing. Maybe that,
Can I be honest with you?
Sure.
Di and I are complete role reversals.
Okay.
So Di is philosophical.
I can see
thinks
that.
through
so
everything.
you make die fun.
Totally.
Is that true, Tony? Or is
My wife would not
I'm
do.
for my friends. I am for my friends.
Good one.
That's good. You're a wise guy.
That was quick, but
that
I
was-
give you
that
credit
was
for
really
that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny because someone would say I'm not fun. I guess that would be true without Jana. I need a vent. She needs a venture, and as much as I innovate and create, I do need consistency. So I can see how people feel this. But I think the crazy thing is with last year when we took our sabbatical, we actually went and saw a counselor and just spent 3 days just talking about our marriage. And there was no problems in our marriage. We just wanted to see this counselor and say, hey, we've been married 35 years. How are we doing? How are we doing? And our counselor gave us some advice. What was the advice? He said, you guys need to get away. He said, you guys are incredible people, but you need to let go of the church. You need to spend the next few months and just do, what was his exact word? Venture.
Adventure.
Yeah, he said, you just need to go out and have fun.
Did you guys do that?
We did.
did all
yeah.
summer.
All summer.
Wow.
We rented an RV. Talk about the trips we did.
Gosh.
Helicopter, we did.
We went canyoneering.
Yes.
That's
You got Troy to go canyoneering.
So that may be
I
the
have
craziest thing right there.
photo proof that he canyoneered
So
down.
like
literally,
literally rappelled
You
down.
rappelled down.
Yes, he did.
So we got there.
And it was the funniest thing you've ever seen. Those poor guides. I'm like zipping down. I got
we had
down.
two guys helping us.
I got down, and
She went right down.
He's at the top, and the guides are like, "Okay, move your foot." And he's shaking. He's like, I can't. My brain says, but my body can't. And those poor guys were just laughing. And we laughed and laughed and laughed.
We laughed.
So hard. They were laughing with us.
Oh, they were.
Because they said most of the time when married couples do something like that, it's a fight.
Okay,
it's
I do remember a video of you guys.
Yeah, that video was out there.
And there's a video of you guys in a canoe.
Oh, yes.
And
yes.
Jana
in the
looked like she was thriving.
Yeah.
And Troy, you looked like you were
was a little
figuring, you were
nervous.
navigating, you were enjoying yourself.
He was a little nervous.
That would be the craziest right there. It's all last time we did it back to back, just things like that.
Good for you, Jana. I'm proud
We
you made
did
him
it.
do that.
In all
Yes.
your guys' years of ministry.
I want to
and-
talk about the RV trip. Don't change the subject.
We're still talking about the RV trip?
Yes.
Okay, all right, let's all right.
So-
I'll bring, let's
Okay.
go. Do your thing.
Write yourself a note.
Yeah.
So you guys went on an RV trip for 40 days.
No. We did the RV trip for 2 weeks.
2 weeks. Okay.
Yeah.
So tell me, what did you do? What was it like?
It was amazing.
And where did you go?
Absolutely.
Like national
we
parks?
we went to Montana, then we went around through Nevada, we went to the
Arizona,
Grand
yeah.
Canyon, Arizona. We did Parkside,
Yeah. The
Uh,
Park City.
Park City, did all of that there, and just did every city we drove to, we did an adventure. So it was like drive a day, stay a night, do an adventure. We did all the Zion Canyon, we did helicopter rides, we did tubing trips, we did just all
Everything.
kinds every day, every other day we did.
Did
an
you know,
adventure.
besides the staying in an RV, you literally described my wife's dream vacation.
Wow.
It was fun.
If we just loaded up in my Jeep, drove around to national parks
Yep.
and did something fun,
Yep.
she would think that is the greatest
We
thing
actually,
in the world.
what helped us, we hired a company that just put it all together. We just said, we want to have 2 weeks of absolute fun and adventure. And they just did everything for us. And we followed the schedule. It was a amazing time.
Was the RV worth it? That
Yeah.
part
totally
of
worth
Absolutely.
it.
it made it
Totally
really
worth
memorable.
And I would do it again. She's a little hesitant.
Well, it was so big.
Yeah.
We probably wouldn't do as big of a one
No, we
because you
probably
couldn't
wouldn't
go
do-
through like
yeah.
bridges and things. It was kind of scary. We hit a line and I was afraid we were going to get electrocuted. Just things like that, you know. But it was fun.
Did you drive through cities with it?
Oh, yeah. We drove.
Remember when we
yes.
took that back road, and literally we were into this back road because the GPS was taking us that
Took us
way,
through a shortcut.
and it was like there was a big wire there, and it almost like burned down the whole thing, but we made it.
We did it. Okay.
I have several questions, but what's yours?
I have like philosophical questions, and you have like
Yes.
like Dick's Sporting Goods kind of questions.
So
like,
Tony,
what kind
I
of
like
shoes?
so Tony, I like your question.
I like
no,
this.
this
Let's
is-
keep this
yeah,
going.
this is good.
You
This
two,
is-
we need to go like this.
yeah, this is fine. I mean,
All
this
right.
is why we work
You
together.
ask your question. I'll be right back.
Okay, I have only been married.
Where's he going?
You know,
Okay, gotcha.
you reach an age.
Tony, how long have you been married?
10 years. We just celebrated year 10 in January.
Wow.
So we haven't been married long enough, so we don't know anything. So in all your years of mentoring couples, and when couples come to you guys in the middle of crisis or the beginning of crisis, are there like 3 issues that you typically see? Can you even pinpoint, like, these are the 3 things that we've seen over and over again? Or is it just so different and all over the place?
Very good question. You know, first of all, we will talk marriage with people. We'll be marriage coaches, all that kind of stuff. When a marriage gets to a place where they're in a crisis, sometimes they actually need counseling. Does that make sense? They
Totally.
need so.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
Tony, I like to talk to marriages like yours, honestly. Which I'm going to assume it's a good marriage. You've been married 10 years. I can assume a lot of good things about you.
Sure.
But so the question is, what are some things I think that married couples are missing or need to really lean into?
Yeah,
versus-
what do we need to double down on?
Yeah, double down. And here's what I would say
Yeah.
to most married couples, if not all. We need to become wildly curious about each other and never stop learning each other. Just wildly curious. So 10 years of marriage, you don't even know your spouse. You just need to go, oh, why? What are all the nuances? What's going on? Instead of fighting, debating, dividing over your differences, just become like absolutely curious and never lose that. So we talk about how you need to listen to each other, you need to learn each other, and then lionize each other. And those 3 things I would say to every married couple, they need to learn how to listen and learn. You like to talk about that we need to get a PhD in your spouse.
Yeah, I think we stop at sometimes grade school or junior high, and we get to a certain point, and you can be married for maybe 15 years, but you're still at an elementary of curiosity. And if you just keep learning, and we morph over the years, I mean, we're 36 years in, and we've all morphed. Your kids leave the home eventually, and you keep morphing, and you keep morphing.
I
And
hear that a lot from my friends that are empty nesters, who they feel like they put off their marriage because they were raising kids for 20 years. And then they like wake up and they see their spouse and they're like, I literally just had this talk with someone I know really well the other day. And he goes, I don't know my wife as much anymore.
Well, often-
Right.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, right there. There's the problem is that we stop learning. We stop being curious. And so like when we're dating, you know, Jana lived in Idaho. I drove over there 25 times, 18 months. I just want to be with her. I want to learn her.
Dang.
But something happens along the way. Kids come, life comes, and we just lose that curiosity. And so if you say the common thing, right there, I would say the common thing of how to keep a great marriage is just don't lose that. And so one day when you're empty nesters, we still know each other, and then we're learning each other then. It's a life where you need to become a lifelong student of your spouse instead of this delusion, this thought that you could actually know everything about them.
They always talk about, I mean, for years, there's movies on it. It was called The 7-Year Itch. And they talked about it was after 7 years of marriage, that tended to be when marriages would fall apart. People would have affairs, and it's because that's right around when you get bored. And then they later on called it the 20-year divorce. And it was after the kids moved out, husband and wife would look at each other and say, I don't know you. You know what? I don't really like you. And then we stayed together for the sake of the kids, and we would split up. We experience that in our churches with people that we lead all the time. That doesn't make sense why now you're getting divorced.
right.
This doesn't make any sense. But a lot of it is you got to keep the curiosity. You got to continue to grow together.
You got to keep the spark alive. It's going to stagnate if left alone, right? You have to lean in and not get to the place where you're just comfortable, but you're always learning Yeah, again, I like that word lionize. It's a word we have in the book where you not only listen, learn, but you lionize. That word lionize is a word that, like, for example, if Tom Cruise walked in this room right now, we would all stop and we would lionize him. We would give him prominence. We'd give him attention. That's what the word means. It means you give someone unusual amount of focus and attention. And I think that we stop lionizing our spouse at some time, and it says, say, no, they deserve my full attention. They deserve me to stop and say, you are my love, and I need to learn you. I need to be wildly curious about you.
Yeah, that's good. You talked about, again, how different you guys are. Can I go back to a Dick's Sporting Goods question, Tony? Is that
Dude,
okay?
it's your podcast. Do whatever you want. You pay the
Our
bills.
podcast.
You pay the bills.
Just out of curiosity, what is, if you guys feel like being this transparent, what is I'll start with Jana. What is the maddest Troy's ever made you at him?
Yeah.
At a Pizza Hut at a honeymoon.
Okay. Well, let's see. I would say one of the hardest things was when we were doing ministry and we didn't see eye to eye on how to solve some problems in the church. And I felt like I was not because he's always allowed my voice to be a voice to help shape where we're going. And I felt somewhat sidelined because we couldn't see eye to eye on how to solve a problem.
He shifted into boss mode.
No.
That's what my wife would call it when I shift into boss mode at
shifting
home.
into boss mode. We just couldn't see eye to eye how to. So I wouldn't say it was mad. It was more like, if you don't change, I'm not coming back to work kind of thing.
Oh, there it is.
So there it is.
Yeah, you just asked a counseling question, my friend.
I think it is the dynamic that
Yeah, you just turned it. Yeah,
you guys are husband, wife,
Yeah.
and you lead a church together.
Yeah,
and that is a dynamic Di and I relate to very well.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll ask it the same question to you, Troy, but in a different direction.
Yeah, good.
What is the biggest fight you guys ever got in? Obviously, it's you forgiven. It's all water, you know.
Water
It's
under
all
the
covered
bridge.
under the blood.
Jana, help me. The biggest fight. I'm not sure. First of all, we both
Disagreement.
Yeah,
How's
disagreement
that?
would be good. Well, I'll give you the most clumsy disagreement. How does that sound? It's probably big. Therefore, it's probably the biggest. Is after we had, and again, it's intimate too. So we'll just talk about it. Is after we had two girls, I wanted a third child. I wanted a boy, and she didn't. So there we are trying to figure out how do you figure that out. It's more than a disagreement, right? It's but it would be the biggest. So we had to navigate that and figure out how to have those kind of conversations. And it was at that moment where there's a phrase we talk about in the book, when you disagree, what do you do? And the phrase we use is go with the one who cares the most.
Yeah.
So usually that will work for us 9 out of 10 times it'll work. But in this case, we both cared. We both cared deeply. Boy, you really asked some. These are good questions because it was when I say intimate, it was personal. Even talking about it was personal. So what did we do? That's the question. How do we honor each other, defer to one another? We talk about mutual submission or shared submission in the book. And we decided to just sit down and have, first of all, a logical conversation. We talk about having safe and secure conversations. This was the test of that. Could we have a safe and secure conversation about something so intimate? So we just agreed. Here's literally what we did. Hey, we're gonna put that on the back burner, and every first of the year we're gonna relook at it. And we're just gonna take the year, be both open-minded, pray, but the first of the year we'll go back to the conversation, should we have a third child? Should we have a third child? And we did that for 10 years. 10 years. And then finally, at the 10th year, we came to it. I said, Jana, I feel good. I feel good. We both honor each other. I want to honor you. You want to honor me. And we decided not to have a third child, which is just intimate. One of our biggest struggles we had. And I really feel like it was done in a way that honored the Lord. What is awesome today, by the way, I have two son-in-laws that both are like sons to me. And so they're just amazing. So I see the wisdom of it, especially what God's called us to be, who we are. But that's kind of one of the biggest ones.
Yeah.
Wow, that got serious real quick.
Do you want a third child, Tony?
My wife didn't. I did. My wife did not.
Uh-huh.
And she was more passionate about it at the end than I was. So we,
I wanted 5 kids, believe it or not.
What?
And my wife said, I don't want to be pregnant anymore.
Yeah.
It was what it did to Ariel's body physically.
Yeah,
She
that
goes,
was
I
the
don't want
same
to go
thing.
through this
I did
again."
not. And
She didn't enjoy it. Some people love being pregnant.
Yeah, that would be Jana. Yeah.
Not my wife.
So again, it really gets into me shared submission that a lot, especially in the Christian world, we really do not understand what submission is all about. Men, wives submit to you, and that's for sure what Scripture says. But there's a call to shared submission. I mean, right before the Scripture says, "Wives submit to your husbands," it says we should submit to one another out of reverence for Christ. And so, submitting is simply this commitment to defer to each other all the time. So if you watch this for like 48 hours, you would see constantly we're deferring to each other. Whoever cares the most, we're just deferring to each other. We talk about it's like an orchestra. Sometimes the violin needs to be louder than the drums. Sometimes the drums need to be louder. So sometimes I'm louder, she's louder. But at the end of the day, we create this harmony that is God honoring.
so when did you guys recognize that you did that? Because obviously you didn't talk ahead of time and decide whoever cares the most gets to decide.
Right.
But you'd probably just after 20 years of marriage, just kind of realize that that's the way that it's ebbed and flowed and played out. When did you all of a sudden recognize that that was how you guys would make these big decisions?
I don't know that there was ever a moment that it hit. Is more like just morphed. When conflict would come up, it would just kind of morph in conversation, and we would just it just naturally kind of went that way. It wasn't a one-time moment where we went, oh. So putting it in writing definitely clarifies and solidifies.
Yeah.
That is who we are.
Yeah.
So is the process of writing the book where a lot of this stuff, you're
Yeah.
able to put a
articulate
description
it.
to what you
Yeah.
guys intuitively did.
Yes.
Love it. 2 kids, two
2 girls.
2 girls. Who was the disciplinary one? Okay.
So talk about our differences.
That's a big difference.
Oh yeah, our differences. Yeah.
I am more like, I'm going to tell you once, and we're not going to count to 3, and we're going to spank and be done. That's my motto in life. I'm not going to carry this on for hours. We're going to get it done, and then I'm going to love you, and we're going to move on.
I would come on.
He
the girls
is
would,
more
when
like-
they were 2. Hey, let's talk about this.
Yeah.
Why are you doing this?
He
And-
would take them in a back room and okay, now let's talk about this. Now, why did you do that? And what do you think's going on
This is
inside of
literally-
you?
And they're like, will you just spank me and get it over with?
Exactly.
You're into another
You're
one.
right.
You just brought up another one. Major difference in how we live and think. And again,
It's true.
it's so true. Matter of fact, there's a moment where I said to Jana, are you going to let me be a parent here? Are you going to let me, or do I have to do it like your dad? We could talk about even taking care of the yard and lawn and everything.
Yeah.
Just differences. I said, we didn't use this language then. 35 years later after writing the book, we're using it. Do I get to add my color to this? Or is it just your color?
And I didn't know any different when we got married because my mom was a very prominent person because of our family story. She was like mom and didn't want another man to hurt us. So she took prominent role in the disciplinarian of our home. So that's all I knew. So I'm like, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to discipline. And you come from a broken home.
Yeah, broken.
So we didn't really have a
broken home. So I had to raise myself.
Yeah.
So I had no parent. I got saved and the church raised me. And so I didn't understand the need for discipline at all. I go, yeah, if you're healthy, you're gonna act right. And so it was quite a conflict. And again, I remember you saying, no, we are going to do this together.
And I had a moment
Yes.
where I was convicted that I'm like, oh my gosh, I am totally repeating history here. And I'm not allowing his voice to feed into the picture of how our home is to be built. It was like, this is going to be the way it is because that's what I knew.
Yeah.
And it was when I kind of let that down and let him kind of start coming into the picture while we don't see it eye to eye or would do it the same. It's beautiful because he brings some depth to it that I wouldn't necessarily bring because I'm just like, let's go, let's move on, let's go. And he brings that. It's a great balance.
You have any other deep philosophical question. I have two. I still have two more fun
this
ones.
This is really engaging.
Yeah, no,
this is just like a last episode.
But Brad, if I could just connect the dots there again, I'm always connecting dots. What we both bring our what we call our colors to the marriage. So we walk through the three primary colors we have in marriage. We both bring them, but sometimes we don't allow them to blend. It's when you put together colors that you create new color palette.
What are your three primary colors?
So the three primary colors we talk about in the book is in every marriage you have red, yellow, blue. So you have red being sexual intimacy, and we all have, both couples have red in them. You have yellow, which is communication. Again, both couples want to communicate. It's not like only the woman communicates or the man doesn't, or the man only wants sex and the woman doesn't. Both couples have these colors, and there's blue, and that's connection. Both need connection. So the key to marriage is figuring out where you're at. So I encourage married couples all the time, sit down and write out those three colors and ask, how are you doing right now? So when it comes to red, how are you doing with your sexual intimacy? And talk about how are you doing with your connection, with your blue, how are you doing with your communication? But the point being is you got to blend those colors. So you put together red and yellow and you create orange. You create a beautiful sunset in your bedroom. You put together, what creates purple? You create red
and blue.
Red and blue, you create purple. So you create this new color palette instead of feeling like you're compromising. Actually, when you put two colors together, you're not compromising either color. You're just creating a new color.
You're blending.
You're blending. We use a phrase in the book, blend, don't bend. Blend, don't bend. In other words, instead of bending, looking at it as like I'm compromising, no, I'm blending these beautiful colors to create this masterpiece.
I love it. Black, white.
And what do you create?
Isn't it ironic? My favorite color is black. His favorite color is white. I'm wearing white. You're wearing black.
There you go.
Together we make gray.
Pastors Unfiltered.
It's a color palette.
So Ariel and I have known Troy or Kaylee and Matt for a while now. We love Matt. Yeah. We really love Kaylee. Kaylee's why we're here. She's why we're here. And I set Chelsea up on a blind date once. Didn't go well.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. It was with Brett Allen.
Oh,
I remember.
He's
that.
really successful though.
That's awesome.
Super wealthy.
Super wealthy.
Just had a kid.
Yeah.
I love that.
God bless him. Anyways, I don't take credit for that. Have you guys noticed with your daughters, like watching their parenting, watching their marriages? Do you guys see your marriage in their marriages like come out, like the way they communicate and the way, and not necessarily like just the stuff like I wish we didn't do that, but like the best parts of your marriage? Do you guys see it in their marriages?
I absolutely do. I look at Matt and Kaylee, and I'm like, I mean, Matt is so different. He's just a wild card, and she's the steady, right? To his but it's like again, they've figured out how to bring those two together. Yeah. And their parenting, and the same with our other daughter. Just it's very much the same.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's a part of the joy of watching generation. We talk about generational patterns. And by the way, notice I use the word patterns, not curses. And that would be a discussion we could have maybe another time. But there's generational patterns that we pass on. And to watch us be a part of passing on a new generational pattern, it's incredible.
You know, Ariel and I say this all the time in our marriage. Like there are moments where something snaps in me and I'll like shout at my kids, stop, knock it off. And I go, oh my gosh, it just sounds like my dad again. Yeah. I'm like my dad all over again. And Ariel and I have been saying this because we weren't intentional, but like my parents are immigrants. Her parents had her when they were 16, 17. Like my parents tried their best.
Sure.
Like I give them, like they tried their best and her parents tried their best. But there are moments where we just don't realize in our subconscious we're disciplining like our parents or we sound like our parents. Yeah. And there are those patterns that I'm like, man, I don't know how this got in, but it's in. It's neither good or bad. Sometimes we just got to change it. And
no, Tony, I think recognizing those patterns and then deciding. So this is what happened to me at our 7-year bump. I call it the 7-year bump in the book. 7-year itch is what you referred to, but
Marilyn Monroe made that famous.
I gotcha. I'm gonna go with mine. 7-year bump is I realized I had patterns that I that were not healthy, and if I didn't intentionally decide who I wanted to become in the marriage, we were going to have a stagnated marriage. That's or just a dull marriage, whatever. And we didn't word it like this. Jana's right. The book helped us really put language behind what we've experienced for 36 years. I wanted a masterpiece. I wanted a stunning masterpiece, something that honors God. So I think you have to. So I just like, at our 7-year bumps, decided I'm going to learn marriage. I'm going to read every marriage book out there. There weren't podcasts back in those days, but I would have listened to every podcast. I would have done anything I could. So I went through like a 2-year period of just resetting my brain and learning new patterns, talking to people that have been married 30 plus years, the people that look like they have they're just faithfully married. I want to know why and how do you make that happen? So I do think you have to identify patterns that maybe are not healthy. They're creating dysfunction in this mosaic, learning how to turn those around so you can move that forward.
You said something about understanding. I'm a big fan of being self-aware. I think a lot of people in society aren't self-aware of who they are and how they come across. And that impacts our homes. It impacts our marriages. And so when you can really be self-aware of like, why am I doing that? I think it can change the whole destiny of your future of just showing up and going, I have this tendency and I'm going to own that. And I'm not going to push blame on somebody else because they tipped me over. That's in me and it's going to come out. So I have to be self-aware of that.
That's good.
I've 2 more.
You got me talking counseling stuff, bro.
This is going to change the atmosphere really quickly.
Well, we didn't tell the
two.
story though about you're talking about the arguments. We didn't tell the story the day she took a knife on me.
Oh my gosh.
You probably had that coming.
Yeah.
You did. No.
Tell it.
You're just, yeah.
You can read about it in the book.
You just read it. Yeah, you can
Okay,
read it.
I want to read that. You might not know this, but the very first time that I ever saw the two of you, I was, this is the context. This is going to bring back a memory for you guys, I have a feeling. I was interning at a church in Seattle, and I had been asked to speak at, what do you call it? At the school board meeting.
Okay.
And it was when the Seattle School District had decided to
Stand up.
allow
Stand up.
condoms.
Yes.
And
Yes.
so
It was called Act Up.
Act up.
It was-
Yes.
the group
I
was
was
called
asked
Act
to
Up.
speak. Apparently, so was Troy.
Brandon.
So
Talk about condoms?
Yes.
Yeah, in
we
school.
we were to be
What were
there
you supposed to say?
we
Put
were
them
there-
on?
No.
There's
We
no
were there
condom
to-
for the conscience.
we were there to advocate against it
It's like,
in
okay.
the school board
Brandon.
meetings.
Your dad is going back.
Oh, trust me, I remember it. And Troy had just gone up, and I was 20, and I'm like, you had people that were dying of AIDS laying on the floor crying. Like, it was brutal, this setting that we were in. And Troy had a crew of people that came with him, and they were all holding up signs that said,
Stand up.
Stand up.
no, they said, save sex, not safe sex.
Yes.
Save sex, not. Are you impressed? I remember that.
I am.
So
I'm embarrassed.
when it was time for me to go up, I passed.
Did you really?
I passed because.
Wow.
Are you amazed that I remember
That's
that?
impressive.
Is there a question in there?
No, I was just saying. I just wanted you to know that. Then I'm now a youth pastor at BCA. This is another memory I have of Troy and Jana. And there was maybe is it youth convention or is it a youth pastors? Back when we used to have youth pastors camp.
Yeah.
Like we would go to
Silver Lake.
and we would do it. And Troy and Jana were doing a session, and the title of the session was
Stop. Oh, no.
do you want me to
Do
read
it, Skin.
Skin on skin, and it ain't no sin.
Good night.
Skin against skin, and it ain't no sin.
Warming here.
Is that I did remember that right.
You
didn't I?
did remember it
All
right.
right.
So Brandon,
Good night, Seattle.
in my first book, From Survival to Significance, a book on youth ministry, I wrote, that was like one of the chapters, Skin Against Skin, and Ain't No Sin.
Okay.
Yes, it's actually a chapter in one of my books.
It's like listening to my parents talk about stuff. We all assume our parents
Tony's head is getting sweaty.
I told my wife My parents don't partake in any of that stuff anymore. They just did it to have kids, and we're good. I don't like to think about it. I don't want to imagine it.
Ready, Barry? This is embarrassing, but our grandson, Kingston Troy, he grabbed this book, and we have a chapter on sex, and he read it.
He's 11.
He's 11, and
He's 11.
he read it, and
he told his mom.
He's going to be traumatized for the
This
rest of his life.
was in a family group chat last week.
a family group chat.
And Kaylee texted us and she said, Kingston just read chapter 5. And he said, boy, Papa was right. That is a bit saucy. And he was so embarrassed he couldn't look at him.
He went with someone and saw me, couldn't look at me.
Of course.
I know.
He's like, this is going to change my opinion of my grandparents
Can you
forever.
believe- He read chapter 5.
Or you know what? You go, I have the dopest grandparents of all
This is the guy that dresses up like Santa Claus and gives
you
me
might be like,
presents.
they're
I
awesome.
do think he thinks
Yeah.
we're awesome.
That's legit. Grandparents are cool.
He went up, fist bumped him.
Yeah,
Go,
yeah,
Grandpa.
That's cool, Grandpa.
So you guys are gonna read chapter 5, right? Yeah.
Single, deep relationship.
Deep
not
relationship,
yet.
yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, last question I have, and then Tony can do.
Yes.
And then if you guys have any questions for us,
Oh,
if you want,
my.
then Tony will ask his final 3. So, Troy,
Yeah.
you want to be the next president in Northwest?
What a question.
I'm beating you to the question.
Yes. First of all, I love NU, Northwest University. We all love NU, right? But will I be the next president? You just put me right on the spot. That's not in my. The answer is no. The answer is I care deeply, deeply about the school, and I'm actually on the search committee. I'm very excited about the potential names that are coming to the table. But it's funny. I wrestled with that question for the last year or so. I don't know what, but the fact is, after praying about it, seeking the Lord, it's not a direction I want to go right now. Did I answer your question?
You did
I
good.
tried.
You should ask Brandon that same question.
Yes.
Again,
Do you want to be the next president of the
You want to be
university?
the next president.
I don't want to work as hard as it would take to be the next president at NU.
Yeah.
There.
Very simply.
I mean, you guys,
I love my life.
between
But-
the three of you, you guys have done, your churches are like, probably, you guys are all in Bible college and youth ministers and probably never thought you'd be leading churches like this. I can't imagine you guys going, let's leave these beautiful things we've built and dive into something that's just so much. It's like starting a church all over again. Maybe that's not the right.
It's like starting a church that you immediately have to raise $100 million.
Yeah. Yeah. But with that said, I would just want to emphasize, for whatever it's worth to the audience, we really do need to believe again in Christian education.
Yep.
We need a revival in that area. I mean, I think about the impact of NU on my mind, my psyche. I wouldn't be the person today who I am without that. And so
Yeah.
I just want to say that out loud because I think it's critical. Yeah.
The harvest is plentiful and the workers are few.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Never, like in the Seattle area, churches growing everywhere, and we're all desperate for staff.
We're desperate for
we
staff.
need a really great school that's producing leaders.
Yes, well trained, well thought, academically proven. I mean, the entire thing. So I think at least it's a good call out for prayer. And the search committee is happening. It's going well, and I really believe God has some good plans there.
All right.
Who's in it? I'm kidding.
No.
Didn't we ask that Dr. Castleberry last week?
And he just
He
had,
had
no,
he
he
had
was
no idea.
dumbfounded.
He looked at you and then started talking about some show from the BBC that he's been watching.
All right, Tony, ask him your final.
All right, guys, we ask everyone 3 fun questions. What I've loved about you guys is I actually feel like the reason why we have Pastors Unfiltered is a lot of pastoral podcasts are just it's the best version of those pastors.
Yeah.
Like you get this procured, very professional. And like with us, you're getting Brandon and Tony. And you guys, I feel like we got to see a lot of your humanity today, which I really appreciate. So our question
We may have to go see counseling now because of
for the build a venture. We got it. Kingdom builders, we'll take care of it. What's one thing you guys are watching? One thing you guys are listening to, and that it could be individually. It doesn't not just together. And one thing you guys are reading or doing for fun.
no, one at a time, or just go for it.
Go for it. Yeah.
You know, interesting. Just going back to marriage a little bit. What we're reading. One of the things we talk about in the book is where we're different. is we connect with God differently. And I know that sounds strange to say out loud, but it's one of our struggles. On our honeymoon, when I tried to read the Bible out loud to her. You want to tell the story or what?
You go ahead.
Yes. Anyways, it didn't go well. It didn't go well. Just to
So wait a second. You're on your honeymoon and you wanted to read the Bible out loud to your.
Oh yeah. He really wanted to read the Bible, and then he really wanted to tell me his thoughts about it, and it was just it didn't go well.
It didn't go well at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, Brandon's going, why did I want to?
Yeah, I'm like, wow.
So the point being,
Tony was thinking something different on his honeymoon.
Yeah. Well, we were thinking that also. I have no, okay.
We were broke on our honeymoon. We had no money. I was thinking, how are we going to pay for this next meal?
We were totally broke.
Yeah.
I'm with
But
you
I
there.
say all that to say this. How we read the Bible together. That's what my point is. We've decided instead of reading it together, because we have not found that harmony, is we'll read the same Bible reading plan and then discuss it through the day. So we both read on our apps, Bible app. We have the same plan. There's little notes in there that you do out there on the YouVersion. And so we'll leave comments about the Bible reading, and sometimes I'll even flirt with her there. So I'll use the Bible that it says like Adam was naked. I'll say
romantic.
whatever. Yeah. So I know that sounds crazy, but it's really. I'm just gonna
Stop. Okay, let me take over.
All
here.
right.
Let me take
So
over. here.
Troy is reading the Bible app. What are you reading,
Yes,
Jana?
yes.
Oh, read it together. is my point I'm
I
trying to make.
am a big fan of
It's fun.
mental
It's-
health.
Oh,
I'm a big fan of that, and I have a certification in life coaching. And so I just believe that if you can be right in your mind, your body will follow. And so I listen to a lot of Doc Amen. I don't know if you're familiar with him, but he is in Seattle, and he is a studier of the brain. And his big aha is if you had a kidney issue or if you had a stomach issue. Yeah.
This guy.
Yes.
He helps with my ADHD stuff
There
all
you
the
go.
time. He's
amazing.
solid. He's very solid.
So his whole thing is if you had something going on internally, what do? You go get an x-ray. If you break a bone, we want to see what's going on in there. And he said, your brain is the biggest, most important organ of your body, and nobody takes time to like understand the neural pathways of what goes on in your brain. So he takes scans and studies people's brains to understand ADHD, ADD, depression, if you've had trauma, if you've hit your head, if something's not working in your frontal lobe. I mean, he's got all these kinds of things, and I am fascinated by that because I think how a person thinks, so he is, which is very biblical.
very true.
So yeah, I'm very much into that. That's what I love.
Yeah.
What do you guys watch on TV?
You guys watch movies or shows together? Or?
So occasionally we'll watch like on a Friday night, good romantic movie or whatever.
Yeah,
But-
we don't watch TV together because he just likes different things. than
No,
me.
we don't watch. Here's why.
I don't really watch TV, to be honest.
No, you don't. And by the way, we didn't have a TV in our master bedroom for the first 20 years of our marriage.
That's probably wisdom.
Yeah, so that's just a
Yeah.
free piece of advice there.
But you like Chicago Fire?
I like Law and Order, Chicago Fire, that kind of stuff. It was so funny. She doesn't like Law and Order, but for the weirdest reasons. She thinks it's like violent.
no.
So I'll watch Law and Order, and they'll just like there's nothing going on. They're shooting each other, nothing, and she'll start speaking in tongues and
No.
convicting me.
No.
This is true. So I've had to go downstairs and watch just something simple as Law and Order because she's over here
And
saying that.
tell the why.
The
Tell
why is because you
Tell the real why.
you tell me the real why.
The real why is because I get nightmares when I see violence.
That's
Aw,
totally
Any-
fair.
That's
any-
very sweet.
No,
totally
it's any
fair.
kind of violence.
It's just them. Not
Okay,
even,
so
it's not
he gets
violent.
offended by that. I'm like, I can't help that I have nightmares if I watch that.
That's
I'm not
fair.
going to
So
watch
do you
it.
watch then HGTV?
I don't really watch TV. My TV's never on.
What was the last movie you guys went to together? Like some Disney movie
We
with your
watched one
grandkids?
in Chelan or Wenatchee. What was that one?
Oh, it was a Christmas movie. Right, you said what you're talking about?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't remember the
I
name.
don't remember the hour. So we go to Chelan often, and so there's a little movie theater there, just like
And that's kind of a
old-fashioned.
tradition. We watch movies there all
Yeah.
the time.
Yeah.
But I don't remember the name.
we
of
don't
them.
go to movies a lot. You probably pick, but we'll just occasionally when we want to just get away.
What do you guys do for fun? Like, do you guys do like a weekly date night and go eat
Yeah.
somewhere fun, or what do you?
Besides sex, or
Yes, we Yes,
So
we
take his
do.
hat off and sweat his head again.
I'm positive. I'm surprised that you've asked us no questions about sex and
We do a lot of
Because
date
occasionally
nights.
our mothers listen to this show.
wow,
My wife
for you guys being so
I don't
raw.
want Ariel to be like, really? You
no.
exposed us to Troy and Jana?
for you
That
to
could
be
have been a phone call.
Tony, for you to be so unfiltered, and we don't talk about that. Okay, we'll respect that. We'll respect it.
I'll call you after the show. I got a question. Okay.
No, we'll like
We do
Sure.
date night every week,
That's great. Yeah,
every
that's
Friday.
great. Like go eat somewhere.
go
fun.
eat somewhere.
Something, do something fun. Go figure out what's around town.
Fun.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Go walk around, just be together. I mean, that's been literally 35 years where we'll spend. One of the blessings of our job is that we can take the same day off every week, and so from morning till evening we're together and just hanging out.
Is that and you guys are your offices next to each other at the church?
Kinda.
Yeah, they are. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. So you guys see each other all day.
We
every
do.
day?
I still like him.
In the new offices that you're having built, are they going to be next to each other?
Yep, right
Yeah.
next to each other.
Wow.
You're
Mine and
asking-
Di's are on the opposite side.
Oh.
of the building.
You're asking about watching, reading, that kind of thing. One of the things that, in terms I'm thinking a lot about, is the impact. And this sounds crazy because none of us want to talk about the pandemic anymore and all that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But I'm really spending thought on the long-term impact of the pandemic, the digital world, what's happening, and what really,
AI.
AI, all that. Where is that going to take us as a church? My mind's intrigued just by that conversation. I don't think there's been enough thought around it, enough conversations around it. And then the other thing is just reading, with writing the book, reading some good books on marriages like Tim Keller's The Meaning of Marriage is phenomenal, or The Good News About Marriage,
Shante.
Shante, yeah. Almost like I was speaking in tongues
Yeah,
there.
you did.
Yes. But a phenomenal book on just marriage. Anyways, those are a couple things I'm thinking a lot about. Yeah, that was.
Man, I'll say this. We've done this show 2 years now. This is probably this was fun.
Yeah.
This is probably
This is
the
the
most
most you've sweat in an episode.
I mean, it's hot in here, man.
It
The
is. I'm
AC is
sweating.
Really not.
Thank you. AC's off. Just got me thinking. Thinking.
Are you going to read the book?
I am gonna. You know what?
I
Listen,
would give you this, but it has my name
I
on
know,
it.
it has your name on it.
I can't believe we didn't bring the book.
That one's even autographed.
Yes.
no, actually, you got me thinking. I think in the fall, Ariel and I will do a small group on
Yeah.
marriage
Yeah.
because we got so many young marrieds at our church. So many young marrieds who are like
Yep.
they're at the year 3 mark.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The
Yep.
honeymoon's over.
Yep.
And I think Ariel and I need to invest in the marriages at our church.
Yep.
Yeah.
This is good.
It's interesting as people say, who did you write the book for? Well, we want all married couples read it, and people that are not married read all that. But people that are in that like year 1 to 10, right there, I think those are the people that we really kind of have an impact on, because they're looking for good advice. They're looking for spiritual fathers and mothers that will speak to the subject. So, yeah, praying will impact. And you fix the marriage, you get the marriage going right, you'll impact the entire family.
Amen.
Well, guys, thanks for taking the drive up to do this. This means a lot. This
you.
has been great.
We will purchase copies of the book.
Absolutely.
Where can you find the book if anyone wants to buy it today?
Amazon.
Amazon.
We will post a link to the book in the info notes for the show for those of you that are listening. If you want to
One
check out the
final
book.
note: someone listening today, they're going, "Man, my marriage isn't great." What's one thing you would say to them right now?
I would say, don't give up. There is hope. And if you invite somebody else into the conversation with you, there is help and there is.
That's great.
I would echo this
excellent.
hope. There's
Excellent.
hope. I would encourage you to back up and take a deep breath. Don't throw it away. Back up and get good people's, good insights, good thoughts into that, because we all become who we listen to. And I would plead, I would beg that person if I could, do not give up. Let's back everything up and really look at it and believe that God will move you forward. If you grab a book like this, what I would encourage you to do is read it. If you read it separately, at the end of every chapter is couples chat. I'd encourage you to talk about those questions. However, just read one question at a time, talk about it, and really just begin to go inch by inch forward in your marriage.
We've seen a pattern where every time we have podcasts where we talk about certain topics, the conversations that come about in the next few weeks are We do a lot of not necessarily counseling, but we start really unpacking stuff with our people who listen to this podcast. A couple of weeks ago, Pastor Christian, we talked about trauma from life and how to handle that and how to walk through it. It was profound. I wouldn't be shocked if we have a lot of marriage conversations after this episode, which is good. We invite that.
We need them.
Yeah, we
more.
do. So
We do. We need, again, we as a church are so guilty of what we're against this. What we need to start communicating is what we're for.
it's great.
We're for a phenomenal, stunning masterpiece, two people loving each other. I think that's the greatest way we can, we talk about revival in Seattle, revival in America. I think we get married couples healthy, we could start seeing a true revival there.
Amen. Anything you want to add? You good? This is awesome. Thank you. Seriously. Thank you guys. This was great. If you love the podcast today, please don't forget to give us 5 stars on Spotify and Apple. We would really appreciate it. And share the episode. It really means a lot to us when you do. Any feedback, go ahead and you can DM at Pastor at Tony Matar. We'd love to chat with you, get to know you a little more. And if you do have some marriage concerns, I would really encourage you, go grab a counselor ASAP. There's dozens and dozens of godly counselors out there.
And the church has something that we have a program called Marriage Mentors. And these are seasoned couples that are willing to walk alongside couples that are struggling or going through some challenges in their marriage and walk them through those things. So.
Excellent. Don't forget, if you have any critical feedback, negative feedback, send it to morgan.b@ourventure.church. He reads every email over his meals.
And literally eats every meal.
And then eats the meals. Yeah, he does. All right. We love you guys. We'll see you next week. Don't forget.
Jesus is the hope of the world. Let's make him famous.
So we're having